Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem. This is a postmortem of my Blitz game number 278. I was white here, I played c4, and here, let's get a little sound. c4, my opponent played e5, the reverse Sicilian setup against the against the English. So second choice here, I guess knight f6 is slightly more popular, but e5 a very common way to play. I see that a lot. And also e6 and c5 going into a symmetrical setup. Also knight f6 sometimes leads to a symmetrical English, or g6 going into a fianchetto. Lots of options here. But e5 was played, and I chose to play g3. Basically g3 and knight c3 are sort of interchangeable. There's some move order subtleties there that I don't really understand all that well, but g3 is a perfectly respectable move there. And now knight to c6 was played. Knight f6 is a little more common here, but knight c6. And if you notice the chess engine, I've noticed this in the past. The chess engine really doesn't approve of English openings in general. Thinks that basically by playing c5 you've given away your opening advantage. So you see it, in spite of the fact this continues to be played with an edge for white, the engine is skeptical. So it's kind of a funny thing. Knight c3 and knight f6. So I guess knight c3 was a pretty common move. Knight f6 is a bit unusual. Since knight c6 was played first, black does have the option of moving the f-pawn. And so maybe that's an idea here. f5 is one way to continue sort of a reverse Grand Prix attack. Or g6 with the fianchetto. I've seen that played a lot. Knight f6 in this particular case is a bit rare, but still a decent move. The engine still thinks the position's about even, and I'm just continuing with my plan. Bishop here, knight here, controlling the light squares. And my opponent goes bishop c5, the top choice. Just developing the dark squared bishop either to c5 or b4 are the main ideas here. You could still go into a fianchetto, but maybe with the knight on f6 it's not as effective. So this immediately starts to set up threats against f2, and I respond with e3, which fits my plan. I mean, I could go with this knight f3 idea as well, I guess. But my plan is to play e3 and to get my knight to the square e2 so that my bishop is not blocked on this diagonal, and I have the idea of playing, the knight supports the move d4 later. So my opponent played d6 here. A top engine choice. It's interesting. Castles is the most common move in this position. And I continue with my plan. And my opponent plays bishop g4. And after this, we're out of book. And the engine is still thinking the position is about even. Although now, now it starts to give a little edge to white. Kind of funny how that goes. Anyway, I castle here. I don't kick the bishop immediately. My opponent plays knight to b4. And right here, look at this. I can win the game with the move d4. So this is one of those interesting tactics. Yeah, I was waiting till it changed. So after d4, the engine recommends castling. So if you didn't see the line before it settled on castling, you might want to view this as a tactical quiz. After d4, why not just exchange on d4 and retreat the bishop? What's wrong with that? Why are you giving up a whole piece here? After d4 castles, I can just take the bishop, and I'm a piece up. You can see by the evaluation of +3, I'm winning a piece here with best play. So so put on your tactical sensors and see if you can figure out what the tactic is after d4. I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Or pause the video, actually, if you want some time to think about it. I'll just go ahead and give the answer away now. It's not too hard to find, so you just need to look for it. I think you'll be able to find it. Okay, well, the answer is after d4. Well, let's say there's an exchange first. And then the bishop just drops back here. Then here's the tactic. You have the move queen to a4 check, forking the knight and the king. And that's a common tactic. Usually the knight can come back here to kind of save things. But in this case, because the pawn on d4, you can push on with d5, and you win the knight anyway. And the bishop, when it retreated here, has blocked the b pawn, so there's no hope of blocking this with any pawn Not that that would be effective anyway, but anyway, that's the tactic. So if we back up here, it's funny. I didn't even consider this. I mean, I wanted to play the move d4, and I was annoyed that this knight move forced me to play d3 because I was worried about his knight coming into the d3 square, and I wanted to prevent that. But just d4 prevents the knight from coming in here, attacks his bishop, and also, as a benefit, wins a piece. Okay, so I missed that and played d3, and now we have a position which is in white's favor. This knight b4 move is not doing a whole lot, so black has given up the equality that he had earlier, and white is a little bit better. So the game continues. I expand on the queen side, very typical strategy in the English, and black undermines here with a5, and now I make a mistake here, I guess. Yeah, the engine says I should just push on with b5. Yeah, I wasn't really realizing I was losing a pawn here. So I was playing this opening obviously a bit casually. So takes, exchanges rooks, and grabs the pawn. And this equalizes. It doesn't win a pawn because the pawn on b7 is hanging. There's another thing I didn't notice until like a move or two later. I play knight e4. I was thinking about, well, maybe I can take advantage of a discovered attack on the knight. But of course I had a better move in just grabbing the pawn. And now here is another tactic. And at least I got this one. So he's attacking my knight, and I'm attacking his knight, but I can move my knight with tempo, so it's very common. A common theme, you take here, and no matter how he takes back, this knight is still hanging. But what I kind of forgot about was I was leaving this piece hanging. So I grabbed the knight, and he grabs over here. So I didn't win a piece, but I did... I'm in a pretty good position because his bishop can be trapped. So it's kind of one undiscovered tactic after another. So if we back up, is it possible to see all this in advance? I kind of did it step by step, walked into this tactic. I took the knight. Well, you can see that. He has to take back, and then you can grab here, and then you notice, well, after you grab there, this knight is hanging, so he's going to take there to maintain material equality. But then this bishop is trapped, and you can just play c5 and win the bishop. And that finally is the end of the sequence. So from here, I guess if you're from black's point of view, of course the prudent thing from black's point of view is just to retreat the knight anyway. Or knight takes e4 is playable. Oh, he can take my knight. Or retreating his knight to a6 are two good options for black here. So d5, the counterattack, just doesn't work tactically because of takes, and then c5, trapping the bishop. A little bit hard to see, but maybe something you could spot. Certainly that's the kind of thing good players at Blitz spot instantly, but I don't. Anyway, so we go through this sequence where we grab all this material, and then I don't notice the bishop is trapped right away. And after he plays bishop takes d5, I play... Now, after he takes the knight, I play bishop takes d5, grabbing a pawn. So I thought I was doing pretty good here. But he can take, and then now I notice that his bishop is trapped, and I play c5. But now it's not as good because he has the move c6. So we back up just a second. After bishop takes e2, if I play c5 right away, after c6 I can just take his bishop and just win a whole piece. After I grab the pawn, I put my bishop on a square where after I attack his knight, after I attack his bishop with my pawn, he counterattacks with c6 and provides his bishop an escape square all at the same time. So what's the best move here? The best move is just to retreat bishop back to g2. I was thinking it might be better to grab another pawn here with bishop takes c6. But if he takes with the queen, that's probably pretty good for black. He didn't play this, but you know, he's got let's count the 4 pawns to 4 pawns 1 to 1. This pawn looks loose. Well, I'm going to grab here. And queen to f3. Yeah, he starts getting these mate threats, and this is what happened in the game. So I was able to maintain material equality in that sequence, but black has an attack. And with opposite colored bishops, the attacking side is favored. So anyway, he took with the pawn, and now I grab the bishop, and then he plays queen f3 with this idea of an attack. But here's another amazing tactic that is winning for white. And once again, I didn't even think about this one. This is hard to see even after it's pointed out, but look at this. Queen takes, rook check. King takes is forced. And then b7. And who's going to stop that guy from queening? So if he tries to checkmate me with the bishop here, I checkmate him first because this goes with queen. And my pieces get down there. I guess everything goes with check. King here. Queen takes e5 check. Well, that's a nice safety valve. I can always take this bishop here if I run out of other ideas, but also it forces his king to the side or back. And then my, okay, the queen comes forward once again, and then the rook can come in finally. And wherever the king goes, king b7, I guess is the only move, and queen to b8 is checkmate. So, cute little checkmate on the back rank after this combination of queen takes rook and b7. There's just no way to stop the pawn. After queen takes f8, king takes f8 is forced, b7, then f6 for black, okay, to try and avoid getting mated. There's no way for these two pieces, they're on the light squares, so the queen can't get back to a square that guards that, because the view of the queening square is blocked by this pawn. So it's all very coincidental according to the position of the pieces. So f6 puts up the toughest defense. Get a queen. Of course, he's 2 steps away from checkmating me, so that means I get one free move basically. So the king has to go up. Let's say king to f7, queen to b3 check on this diagonal, queen to d5. Trying to block it. Okay, well if I trade queens, then I'm just going to be a piece up. And if he doesn't block it and he moves the king, I guess he gets mated. Okay, so yeah, bishop c4 is just giving away the bishop, and king g6 is the toughest defense. Anyway, that's completely losing after queen f3, queen takes f8 check. Pretty amazing sequence. I didn't see that. I played rook a4, just trying to guard against the bishop coming here. So now I can take the bishop if it goes there and prevent the checkmate. But after I moved there, I noticed, well, he's got this great move, queen d1 check. So he didn't play this, but this would have been winning. If I move my king to here, which if I don't want to just give away my queen, you know, that's the only move, and the bishop comes here. A common pattern, actually. The queen is blocking the escape squares. Let's see if I can draw that a little better. Queen is blocking the escape square here, and the bishop is guarding the escape square here, so the king is forced to the back rank. It doesn't matter which square I go to. And then bishop to h3 check, and this is mate. So that's a neat little mating pattern from here. So just because my rook left the back rank. But if my rook doesn't leave the back rank, what's another option? b7, queen d6. I just was not thinking of this b7 idea. That's kind of amazing. Queen d6. What's that like? Oh, that also is supporting the idea. Queen d6, bishop e4, king f1. How about this? Queen, I'm curious about this. How does this save me? Bishop here, threatening checkmate. King f1. Okay, I walk out. That's the idea. So I just let the queen come in here. Walk away, and then this is going to be a repetition with queen f3. I can go back to f1 or to e1. If I go to d2, I get in trouble. The queen takes f2 check. Okay, so I have to stay in touch with the pawn, and that would be a draw. So so there were other moves, yeah. So when I played this rook a4, I just didn't spend enough time looking for different moves. I thought about it for a while, and I just couldn't find anything. So it's funny, there was all those possibilities there. So anyway, after rook a4, I should lose. But my opponent plays the move c5, hitting my queen. And so I move my queen to g4, which, hey, for once I get a move the computer approves of. Now it should end in a draw, except for a horrible mistake my opponent makes. He makes the move e4, and now that allows checkmate in one, because he opened up this diagonal to bishop. So remember what I was saying, when you have opposite colored bishops and there's more force on the board, it's whoever is attacking has a real strong advantage, because basically you've got a unopposed piece. So I checkmated him, and that's how the game ended. Hope you guys enjoyed that. There was a real festival of tactics in that game. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.